Good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to News in Focus. My name is Faraz Patel. We'd like to thank you, the viewer, for staying with us on Hilal TV, DSTV channel 347. Now, a new type of criminal enterprise has emerged in South Africa after an astonishing haul of assets by the Assets Forfeiture Unit, who confiscated 43.9 million rand in assets, including sports cars and luxury homes in Bryanston in Johannesburg. Now, the NPA is investigating an international Israeli fake call center syndicate targeting victims in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States, persuading them to invest in non-existent products with promises of return. Oh, you've seen it before. I get a lot of that happening on my phone. Call centers calling, promising you things, and sometimes when you catch them out, you know what they do? They put the call down. Now, these syndicates often set up these bogus call centers in countries where law enforcement is less stringent, making them difficult to dismantle. To help understand this international trend better, let me welcome Mike Bolhuis, who is a crime expert. Mike, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, Mike. I think for most South Africans who have seen the story, the concern is about how these bogus call centers are able to operate here undetected because of our lax law enforcement. Is it a correct statement in saying that, Mike?
Yeah, it is. But the problem is it is not easy detectable. A syndicate or an individual criminal or an extortionist can, just by having a phone or a laptop, a computer, start making calls and getting monies in and donations. And we've seen this many a times. There could be extreme drought, and then people get calls or WhatsApps or SMSs or even emails with an account number, and they pay without doing a proper identification, evaluation, and a risk analysis. And so we come to the bigger ones like these ones. But what I'm trying to say is there are thousands of these. And the call centers are just the pinnacle, the biggest ones. They are that can cause the most damage. So obviously, from the slightest ask for money to the biggest ask for money, you must always, number one, not be too inquisitive about it unless you have done the following: a thorough identification, evaluation, and risk analysis. You have to clearly identify what's going on. You have to do a platform profile search and investigation, if necessary, a financial forensic investigation. The bigger the money, the more investigations you must do. Number two, you never do something hasty. Number three, paperwork must always be 100% in order. And number four, once you are absolutely convinced, after your investigation, always lay it before, especially if it's big money, before a person that has financial knowledge, and ask an opinion or two. Then only do you give money if you want to and can.
Mike, we've seen this, right? The rise of scam call centers. I mean, I've lost count the amount of times I've had that happening on my phone. And of course, it'll say there, potential fraud. Now, they are organized operations that employ social engineering tactics to deceive victims. And these fraudulent operations are often located in countries where law enforcement is less stringent, making them difficult to dismantle. From an NPA perspective, I mean, how much do they have on their hands now in trying to clamp down on these operations that are happening?
Well, not only the authorities, but the banks, cell phone companies. I spoke to a CEO of Standard Bank the other day, and we were talking about these knocks and scams. And he said, and I said to him, we were inundated. We, as specialist investigators, we get hundreds of calls, requests, emails, WhatsApps, SMSs, asking for help, lost money, exactly as you've said. But the banks are the same. And I said to him, if I look outside my office, it's about 100 meters. That's the queue that would be standing in front of my office for assistance. He says to me, Mike, our queue is probably at least 5 kilometers long. The list is endless, and the claims are endless. and the knocks and scams are endless. Now, I can tell you the police the same. All police stations, as a matter of fact, most police stations just sends the people away. They don't even help them because they say to them, listen, you've given an OTP number, or you've willingly, without a gun against your head, have given money. So once again, I must reiterate, you cannot be too inquisitive or curious when you get a call, unless you do a further investigation. And you must never fall for a bargain. And you must never fall for dire photos that show somebody in hospital. You can only, after you've done and verified the person in hospital and that the photos are 100% and the drought money is going to be paid for the drought, or the money is going to for the specific item that was identified to you, if you want to be a good Samaritan and help. Otherwise, you cannot get involved. But most scams aren't coming, or the most scams that are committed aren't those that where people just ask for money for help. The most scams are where they try and get you to buy something, to invest into something, to buy Bitcoin. Because if you put in, I had a call the other day again, the guy says to me, talking to me as if it's quite normal. You know, he's paid now 3,000 Rand. They've promised him 300,000 Rand in 2 weeks. Now, just listen to that. And people fall for it because it's a small amount. I'm going to give the 3,000, but then you have to pay 2,000 and then 5. And eventually you get people that pay more money in to win something that they would have won. And then you would say to me, Mike, I'm listening to you, but is this even possible that people will do that? Let me tell you, in the puppy scams, I had a woman that bought a dog for about 4,000 Rand on the internet. She paid up eventually more than 300,000 to get the dog. And then the penny dropped and she contacted us. I have a woman that has lost 25 million Rand in 6 months, a widow, which has fallen for a sweetheart scam. So the scams are the biggest crimes in the world, and it's not going to stop. It's going to become more.
Mike, what we saw last week in Umhlanga in KwaZulu-Natal, it's not a isolated incident, isn't it? This is happening across the country.
Yes, it is, and it should happen more. It's shocking to hear that every now and then, every 5 or 6 months, you hear of a big bust. These busts should happen on a daily basis countrywide. But unfortunately, as everybody knows, those who follow the Matlanga Commission and the political instability and all the crime and corruption investigations against the authorities should know that if the authorities cannot do the work, and there's very few that can and are willing and able and capable. So I praise them for this specific job. The Asset Forfeit Unit, SARS, and all the specialized units, the MPA, IDAC, all of them must work together as a unit and clamp down on not only the biggest, but from the smallest knocks and scams. At the end of the day, the solution to knocks and scams is that those who could be knocked and scammed not get involved. In other words, like you yourself have said, if you see a call and it's spam, why would you answer it? Just report it, block it, and delete and move on. But unfortunately, people fall for it. They answer, and especially those who aren't literate and have been taught a bit and knows the smartphone, because that's another problem. If you don't know your smartphone and you just open up any and every link, you're going to get caught. You need to know the phone like the palm of your hand. And you need to stay away from being curious and greedy and falling for bargains and getting involved in anything unless you investigate it.
Mike, how rampant and how increasingly viable is cybercrime becoming within the country? We've got about 2 minutes left. How big is cybercrime right now within South Africa?
Well, to everybody out there, it's the biggest crime presently committed in the world. That includes South Africa as well. There are more money lost to cybercrime criminals than all the other crimes together. So that's how huge it is. Be careful. Know your phone like the palm of your hand, as I've said. And when in doubt, stay away, find out, and then get involved after you've done an investigation.
Mike Bolhuis, absolute pleasure having you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, after the break, we're going to be chatting with regards to whistleblowers. Another whistleblower murdered last week, this time in the Umfuleni municipality. Now, there is a bill that is meant to be coming out to protect whistleblowers, and yet it is moving at a snail's pace, given that these are individuals that are going ahead and flagging irregular expenditure and irregular activities happening in municipalities which continue to be in dire straits. I'm going to be chatting to Saftu after this break. Do stay tuned.